Well, hey there. Are you in the market for a mob spawner? Are you tired of the same old boring designs that everyone's used since the dawn of time? Do you like flying machines? Well, have I got the deal for you. Although honestly, it's not that special. Um, you can see what I've set up over here is a mini mob spawner. It's fairly expensive for construction. Um, but a lot of that's due to, the need for glass in this particular case because of where it's at. Up in the sky in the middle of the day and all that kind of stuff. I doubt this will actually change anything. But all this really is a nifty, swifty uh, spawning platform with a flying machine, right? And boop, 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 boop. Let's get up there. In fact, I meant to increase my spawning spaces a little bit already. Anyway. That's nice, Mr. Zombie. So 2 spaces on this side. What is it? Yeah. That'll leave me with 2. Yeah. But we've got a flying machine. We've got a return station on each side with a switch to turn the thing on and off again. And, magically, presto. We've got ourselves a mob farm. Nothing too exciting, too exhilarating. And there's, multiple ways to make your flying machines, obviously. You just need, in this case, I'm using a piece of obsidian back here that an observer is facing into. When the machine comes in contact with it, it powers the obsidian, which powers the redstone dust on top of it, triggers the trap door, does a flappy thing on top of the flying machine, and sends it back. And when I want to shut it off, I can just come down, I can power the trap door, which will keep it up, right? But from here, we've got, let's see, I need to be at least 32 blocks back. There we go. We can already see a new spawn or 2 in there. So the flying machine goes back and forth. The spiders are not nearly as big of a problem outside of this contained box, by the way. They can climb solid surfaces and all that kind of stuff, but if the bottom was open, he would have just, spiraled to his death. Yeah, there we go. Oh, let's see how it handles Enderman. I have not tested this yet. They don't seem to actually do anything. Huh. Was it just the one Enderman? Interesting. So this might be an overworld Enderman farm, actually. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so it just drops them down, drops them to their doom, bada bing, bada boom, end of bad guys. Do, 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 do. But let's see, where do I have it? Down there. All right, let's go down, take a look at the flying machine setup. Otherwise, it's just a matter of making a spawning platform, which is just a flat surface, and all of that. Whee! All right, so I got this guy set up. Way too close to way too many things. I think I should have room there. But yeah, so on the other one, I've got this observer looking into a piece of obsidian right here. The reason for it, this machine is a lot bigger than that one as far as the total number of blocks on it. So that one can actually push more than is on the machine. So I need something that'll actually actively stop the machine. Obsidian is an unmovable block, so that's why it works. And this bit here could be up higher. It doesn't really matter as long as your redstone gets powered by your observer. So this is just an observer, or 2 of them rather, with sticky pistons and slime underneath. So we can actually build one up really fast, all right? So we come in, come off the ground, and let's go off one more. So once we get up here, we put on a sticky piston, we put on another slime, we come to the other side, another sticky piston, so sticky pistons facing each other, 1 block aside with slime in the middle. And then the next thing you want to do, come down, boop, and boop. Set up your observers so that they're looking up and powering down, so you can see the faces kind of just a little bit through the slime here. So once one of these sees an update, it will power the slime block next to one of these sticky pistons, which will then extend the sticky piston, but only for a brief moment, so it will push out and let go. Right, so boop, there we go. And as soon as you break one, it'll start flying off in some direction, and it'll keep going. But an unmovable block will stop it, right? So I set that up. Boom, that's what's right here. Since there's power on this, it kept this piston extended. But as soon as I let it go, it'll start flying back and forth. Boom, ba-doom, boom, boom. Did I? Oh, I was just a hair too close to the honey there. All right. Why are you freaking out indefinitely? Because there's still honey there. Got it. uh, anyway, as you can see, one block is enough to stop this thing in its tracks. But if I made it smaller, then that would not be the case. So what you need to be aware of is a piston can only push so much at a time. So right here, this piston is pushing this whole line over here. And it's pushing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks in total. The piston, oh, I guess 12 if you count the observer. But the piston and the observer count. So if I wanted to, I could come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this machine is the same size as the other machine, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. So now when I let him fly, did you stop a block early somewhere? Oh, the piston got out of sync. Do, 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 do. There we go. There we go. Bam. And bam. So this being the same size, it has the same weight. So this flying machine stopper that I have here will still work. But if your machine's bigger, just replace that with obsidian. Problem solved. But anyway, since it's touching the ground, like we have set up in our glorious new little baby flying machine up here, it'll sweep all of the mobs that spawn in the area across until they fall down, and then you can use gravity or lava or whatever to kill your mobs from there. It just popped back up. We already got what looks like 3 mobs up there, 4. Creeper, 2 spiders, and probably, is that another creeper? Yeah, it looks like another creeper. So bam, right there. Just got back in range, already got like maybe 4 string and 3 gunpowder or something like that. And yeah, see, even this tiny space, super, super effective. So you don't need to go super big on your mob farms, especially for a single player world. Now I would say do not do this one on a server. A couple of reasons. One, flying machines are kind of laggy. So if you got a lot of flying machine action going on, it might cause problems on your server. Two, flying machines, if you don't have proper shutoffs or forget to shut it off and stuff, can break when you leave chunk areas or when someone partially loads part of it. So if you get a lot of traffic in your area, a flying machine may not be your best option. But otherwise, this would be pretty effective. Just drop the mobs right down to their deaths and dooms. In fact, yeah, I don't know if light will start coming through if I do this. I don't want to stop the spawning. But let's see. And there we go. I think my light level should still be low enough for it to spawn there. I'm not sure how high up light comes from the bottom. Yep, still got spawning. So it swoops over, it drops the guy, and he falls to his death. And you could just put a platform of spawners down at the bottom, or I've actually set up like a layer of glass panes above a water stream before, which has worked fairly effectively as well. All right. So we've got our little flying machine mob farm, which is perfectly adequate. I went ahead, I added a little water collection system to it, and a pad of hoppers just for things to fall on, catch them, send them out this way. And this thing, I let it run for like way too long. So we've got whole bunches of mob drops and stuff in there. Roughly after half an hour, I was up to about here, give or take. But let's go ahead and empty this thing all the way out, which I'll actually come back and do here in a little bit. But the mob farm that I personally use most of the time is basically this guy plus a clock on the top. So let's go ahead, build one layer of it real fast, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so really all you need, other than your clock components, and there's a lot of different options for what's used for that, but you need some kind of a building block, you need observers, dispenser, and water bucket for every layer. I'm using the tinted glass to surround it so that I can run this thing, in the day, but it's not really an absolute necessity. So once you have a layer or wherever you want to start your layer, dead center, you want to put your dispenser, and it has to be a dispenser. It can't be a dropper. A dispenser will use an item, where a dropper will just throw the entity item that you can pick up out somewhere. Okay, so that's important. You'll see how it works. But your dispenser, hold shift click, put a temporary block on top of it, and two more on top of that. Punch them out, come down here, and place an observer, and you want to make sure that it's facing down. If you're using the vanilla pack, whichever way this hard to see arrow here is pointing is the direction that it's going to power once it sees an update. Okay, and then from the center block, you want to build out 7 blocks in every direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the reason for 7, that's as far as water can flow. And you'll see why that's important once we actually turn this on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bam. And then you just want to fill in your diagonals all the way around this. So boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oop. And as far as I'm aware, if you don't count your building blocks, or if you're just using cobblestone, or something you've got insane amounts of, this is probably the cheapest way to make a large mob drop. And one of the reasons you want one that's larger, depending on your situation, of course, is that you get more mobs spawning the more space that you have available for them to spawn on. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Alright. Bam, bam, bam. Alright, so we've got this. Now we want to come over here to center, right? And we're going to punch out that temporary block above the observer. Now, when you do that, it'll actually activate every layer of your farm. And you can see it pushes the water right out to the edge. All right, and when I put my dispenser down, he'll see that there's a new block there, and he will go ahead and update. And it'll turn the whole thing off. All right. Whoop. So now, on top of this, I want to put a clock. And to run my clock, I'm actually going to do the same thing with my observer. Up 1, 2, 3. Boom. Place my, there we go. Place my observer, and I'll go ahead and just punch him out now. There's a lot of different ways to build a clock. Let's see. Did I actually get... No, okay. You're going to want to come up 1 from this guy. Reason being that most of your mobs need 2 blocks of height to spawn here. Okay, so boom, we got him. Now for our clock, what I'm going to use is a note block that I'm going to place here. And then I'm going to build an Etho hopper clock on top of it. So I need redstone dust. I need hoppers. I need sticky pistons. I need comparators. And a redstone block. All right, and your Etho hopper clock. Let's see. We'll put that down temporarily. Of course, visual glitches. But you want 1 hopper facing into another hopper. Okay. And let's go ahead and build this out just a little bit. And I'm going to completely close this roof here shortly. Okay, so we have our comparators that are going to look into our hoppers. All right, and those comparators are going... Ooh, I guess we want a building block as well. I always forget that until I start building this thing. All right. Those comparators are going to see when there's items inside of our hoppers. And they're going to then power these blocks, which will then power these redstone. And now our Etho hopper clock needs 2 sticky pistons and a redstone block. All right, and let's see. Let's do half. So once you have this together, you put in however many items you want. The more items you have in it, the slower the hopper clock will go. And what happens is this is going to pulse and update and everything like that. Every time one of these empties, the comparator for a very, very brief moment will lose signal. When it loses signal, it stops powering this, and then the piston becomes unpowered. This side will still have items in it when that happens, which will then push this piston because it now has the ability to push because this lost power for just a moment. This redstone block, as it goes back and forth, while it's touching a hopper, it powers the hopper, so it can only accept items that are being pushed into it. It can't actually pull things in from the top of it or push them back out. So it's a back and forth thing. But you can see as it's doing its thing here, it pulses, and we now have this back and forth kind of clock going on. And every time it moves, my water turns on or off. Bam, presto, magic. So let's go ahead, seal this up real quick. I should just use the fill command. In fact, I'm just going to use the fill command. Let's see. -70, 95, 12. Boom. So much faster. -71, 95, 13. Or actually, let's do it from here. I'm just trying not to cover up my observer block over there. Or not my observer, my note block over there. Negative 61.95, 13. Okay, 73.95, 12. Bam. Now we got a solid roof on it. Now it's all dark in here. So if we go ahead, set our game rule back to do mob spawning true, we now have a functioning mob farm here. So let's back away from this. Back away from both of these, in fact. There you go. Now, both of these actually have the ability to be spawning right now, though I guess I turn the switch on this off. Now you can see they can both spawn right now, but the one on the right is spawning a lot more. The one on the left, it'll spawn a few here and there. And it'll fill up. Although I'm noticing it seems to be a lot slower than it was previously for some reason. Did I break some glass? I don't think I did. No, that's still sealed up the way it was. Might just be because there's so much spawning space over here. It's filling up my mob cap. Oh, there it spawned a couple. All right. But that one, I mean, I just put a water system down there that's sending them to their fiery doom. This one over here, what I'll do a lot of times is I'll set up a chamber of magma blocks underneath of it, and then put water streams on top of it, which will move the mobs along on the very, very bottom layer, so you know, right around here, and then push the mobs and the items towards one side, and then I can use a water collection system to pick up everything. But you can see how many mobs are coming out of this. Now there is a caveat here, and that is I right now have perfect spawning conditions, meaning I'm not anywhere near a cave. I'm have daylight around me and all of that. So literally the only places in this entire world that can spawn things right now are this guy and this guy over here. It's literally not possible for a mob to spawn anywhere else. So these rates are a little bit faster than you're probably going to see if you build this low in your world. Now, with sky limit being as high as it is, you can go up as high as you need. In this case, I'm at uh, roughly y equals anywhere between about 85 and 95. So, but this world is also set up special. My ground is only at y equals 3 or 4. Layer of bedrock, couple of whatever underneath of it. Special conditions of a super flat world. But as long as you build your mob spawner way up high, and you build yourself a place to AFK at least 32 blocks away from your spawning area, then you're going to be good. And what I would personally recommend for that is to get some scaffolding, right? And we can just walk over here. We know that our center is actually like right here. So if we just come right next to it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 31, 2. So that's 32. We'll go 34 for good measure. And then you can come up and build yourself a little hiding box. The reason for the hiding box on a survival world is because the more you do not sleep, the more you're going to spawn phantoms if there's open air above your head. If there is not open air above your head, bada bing, bada boom, you're good, right? Now, if you wanted to, you could build this box any number of ways, put a torch on top of it or whatever to make sure that that's not spawnable. Although, as long as you're closer than 32 blocks to it, then there's really no problem. Actually, boop, let's go all the way down, punch this out. Oh, except I just potentially dropped a bunch of that into my hopper clock. Yep, whoops. Which would have changed the time. All right, let's go up here. All right, bam. All right, so we can stand up here. We can see the hopper clock's doing its thing. There's already mobs spawning on that platform, right? So now our water should have just kicked over, and boom, mobs. And then you just have to decide what you want for a collection system underneath of it. For me, this one's a massive preference. 3 or 4 layers of this is adequate for a single player survival world. In fact, even on small multiplayer, that's going to give you enough extra things like gunpowder and string to sell to your friends or server mates or, whatever your situation there is. Anyway, it's kind of been it's been fun. And, I hope you learned something. If you did, hey, let me know. If there's still some mechanic of this that's confusing you, let me know that as well. Because, well, I've got some time. I can put it all together. I can figure it out for you, and we can keep rocking it on. But thanks for stopping by, and I hope I catch you next time. Bye now.